Philip has now got the feeling that he deserves a little trip to the boozer. Well, get him. Veteran collector Richard is waiting to share his unusual enthusiasm. Over 1,500 dearly owned vintage beer trays from the 1870s to the 1970s and sourced over the last 28 years. Sorry, Philip, this isn't actually a pub.
Richard, how many Richards are there in Britain?
Officially on tray collecting, there's only 2 people who collect purely trays. But there's a lot of what's called breweriana collectors, so they collect jugs and show cards and match strikers and mirrors. But I was the first person to specifically collect trays. There's lots of people who collect beer bottles. For them, it's their passion, it's their the greatest thing on God's earth. But for me, beer bottles that you can't actually see the colouring, the beauty of the trays. You can actually see the splendid colours in here.
When did they start making beer trays?
The earliest beer trays, in my opinion, are probably around about 1870. So these are all the oldest, the old enamel trays, and obviously the brass and copper.
You think now of all the television advertising and newspaper advertising, and I suppose in the heyday of these trays, this was the only source of advertising your wares in a way.
Indeed it was, and the same design flair went into creating beer trays as into packaging and sign making. Breweries, large and small, employed design teams, taking inspiration from the world of Art Nouveau, and propaganda posters to persuade us Brits to drink more beer, as if we needed any persuading.
In fact, they're actually officially called waiter trays, so you'd order your beer and take the tray with the beer to you as a customer, and you'd take the beer off, and of course the advertising was there to be seen.
Is that like an ashtray?
No, actually it's the only tray that I have where there's a little change tray actually on the tray. And if there's any change, they put it into this little tray here.
These handsome examples of great British design heritage are sadly today hard to come by, so Richard's fine, rare collection has been hard won in both time and money.
If that one came on the market today and it was one I hadn't got, I'd probably pay 500 quid.
£500 for a beer?
£500 for that one, but it's exceptional.
Holy shamola.
Holy shamola! Indeed.
Something like that, William Thompson's Blackford near Perth in Scotland, about 1920. Very small brewery.
It's nearly 100 years old.
Nearly 100 years old, extremely rare.
So how many pubs might they have had? 1, 2, 3?
I'd say a handful at most.
But what interests me is then, why would they go to the trouble? I mean, these trays must cost more than the beer cost to make.
I think it was just the pride of actually having some advertising.
I suppose the other thing is if the big boys do it, you do it as well, don't you?
Amazingly, there used to be thousands of independent breweries in Britain, some supplying a mere handful of pubs. Most went out of business in the 1950s and 60s, either closed or engulfed by the big corporate brewers. But these promotional trays once played an important role in keeping bespoke beers popular, hence the one-upmanship in design and beauty. No wonder passionate collectors just can't resist them. Could you?
What's the most recent tray you've bought?
Well, I tell you, that's an amazing question because I've been after a local brewery in Grantham for 20-odd years. I've written newspaper articles, magazine articles, and I've never come across the tray. But this week, I've actually managed to purchase the tray that I've been looking for. It's this one here.
So this is Mowbray's?
Yeah, Mowbray's went out in 1952. So this is a pre-war tray, about 1938, 39.
I've had an absolutely fabulous time. Thank you very much.
Cheers.